This week on Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke, we welcome Beatriz Fritschler, a social impact strategist, health advocate, and wellness entrepreneur, known for her leadership in the nonprofit and government sectors. Originally from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, she now lives in Washington Heights, New York, with her husband Charles and their cat, Willow. Beatriz's journey has been fueled by a passion for social justice and personal transformation. In today's episode, Beatriz shares her powerful story of how surviving a ruptured brain aneurysm in 2018 led her to profound personal growth and deeper connection with her body, mind, and spirit. Join us as we explore how she turned this life-threatening crisis into a journey of healing, joy, and purpose. Beatriz's story is entitled From Intellect to Embodiment. Thank you for joining us for Part 1, Beatriz Fritschler's story.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
Hello and welcome to Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke. Stroke offers a powerful, life-changing shift in perspective. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. Beyond Stillness offers a moment of pause for storytelling and reflection. Ultimately, Beyond Stillness is a welcoming environment that reveres the moment beyond stroke's paralysis. Still moments unite humanity and divinity. I'm your host, Molly Bucola. As we begin, we take a moment of pause, creating space for wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope. And we give thanks. Now, Beatriz Fritschler's story.
At a particular low point in my life, plagued by depression and physical illness, a TED Talk led me to somatic therapy. The idea that healing could begin with acknowledging bodily sensations resonated with me deeply, because deep down, I knew I needed to reconnect with my body. I wanted to find and address discomfort at its root cause. After some research online, I found a somatic therapist named Daphne. We connected quickly. Our healing partnership felt right. She showed me how to slow down and sense how emotions were reflected by my body's sensations. She showed me how to slowly learn to interpret the language of my body. After a few months of individual therapy sessions, she suggested that I try group therapy to enhance my healing. The prospect of group therapy was both exciting and daunting. On my first day with the group, I was nervous but determined. I introduced myself and expressed my desire to be more open-minded and connected. We sat in a circle. The room was large and cozy, with mismatching comfortable chairs. I was afraid to be open and vulnerable in front of a group of strangers, but I soon found that the group was a safe haven where everyone's stories echoed my own quest for healing and connection. The next day, March 7th, 2018, just weeks before my 42nd birthday, I was cleared to resume normal activities after a hysterectomy. I felt great and wanted to celebrate. After experiencing a moment of pleasure, an intense headache struck suddenly. I gathered all my energy and explained to Charles, my partner, that I was having the worst headache of my life, accompanied by a stiff neck and sensitivity to light. Despite these alarming symptoms, we went to bed, hoping it would pass. The next morning, still in excruciating pain, we walked to urgent care. No doctors were available. I called work to inform them of my symptoms, and my boss, recognizing the signs, insisted that I may have an aneurysm and I needed immediate medical attention. Ignoring her advice, we visited my primary care physician, where the medical assistant, noticing my condition, urged us to go to the hospital immediately. In the emergency room, after waiting for what seemed an eternity, a first-year resident examined me. Since I was conscious and walking, he assumed it was a stress migraine and prepared to send me home with some medication. Charles, recalling my boss's warning, asked if they could administer a brain scan to rule out an aneurysm. Another doctor, overhearing our conversation, decided to order the brain scan. Moments later, the diagnosis was clear. I had a ruptured brain aneurysm and a subcranial hemorrhage. The ICU became my home for 20 days. The sterile environment with its constant beeping monitors and vigilant medical staff was a place of both physical recovery and profound personal insight. Every day, I was subjected to neurological tests by young medical fellows. What city are we in? What is your name? Can you spell your name backwards? These questions, though repetitive, were a crucial part of my recovery process. My room, small and narrow like a prison cell, had white walls that only amplified the clinical coolness. Yet, it was here, amidst the cables and wires, that I encountered the raw humanity of my own existence. I learned to surrender and accept my vulnerability. The drive to stay connected to my work, even from a hospital bed, initially seemed paramount. But as the days passed, I realized the absurdity of clinging to professional ambitions while battling for my life. God, in His mysterious ways, took the wishes I voiced to the group in somatic therapy quite literally. I told the group I wanted to be open-minded and connected. The next day, I suffered a brain aneurysm rupture that led to a craniotomy, where they literally opened my head. This medical crisis forced me into a state of stillness and introspection. In the hospital, I confronted my vulnerability and was forced to deepen my body-mind connection. There is a stark irony in this situation. While in the ICU, I was the only one who could walk and talk. The nurses called me walkie-talkie. Most were unconsciously fighting for their life. The professionals monitored my body while I monitored life's fragility. The man in the room next to me died. That could have been me. His elderly parents' grief was palpable. Their heartbreak, a reminder of the precariousness of life. At that point, I sharply focused on the gravity of my situation. While this was very much my personal journey, friends, family, colleagues, and even distant acquaintances appeared to show their support, pray for me, and comfort me. It was humbling and deeply moving to witness the outpouring of love and respect from those whose life I touched. Charles, my steadfast partner, was my rock through this ordeal. He made sure I received the best care possible, advocating for me. His presence and commitment reinforced the bond between us while dissolving past conflicts and misunderstandings. To celebrate my 42nd birthday in the hospital, we reserved a gathering room and used the balloons from my hospital bed to decorate. That morning, Charles handed me a bag with a beautiful bright green dress from my closet at home and a makeup bag with red lipstick. He knew I wanted to look pretty and feel girly after 3 weeks in a hospital gown. My mom brought her empanadas and friends provided soft drinks. Teresa, my friend's mother, even showed up with soupy rice and a guitar to play for us. My childhood friend Myosotis brought a cake to top it off. Surrounded by friends and medical staff, this was a poignant moment of joy and gratitude. It underscored the miracle of my survival and the strength of the connections I had built over the years. My visitors brought life into the sterile hospital environment. They read to me, shared stories, and kept me engaged with the world outside my room. The love and possibility they brought were as crucial to my recovery as the medical care I received. They made me laugh, gave me encouragement, and reminded me of the world waiting beyond those hospital walls. This support network not only uplifted my spirit, but also reinforced the importance of community and the strength we draw from our relationships. 13 years earlier, we held my dad's funeral in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. I remember the surprise and overwhelm of seeing hundreds of people there. They came in masses by yellow buses from all around. The sidewalks outside the funeral home were packed with the overflow of loved ones. At that moment, I wish he could have been alive to see his impact on others. I see my 20 days in the hospital as an opportunity to connect with people from all phases of my life. They all showed up. I carried that deep sense of interconnectedness with me, still and always will. It is beyond the physical world, and that is powerful. I am humble and in awe. Returning home was both a relief and a challenge. The familiarity of my surroundings was comforting, but there was still a recovery journey ahead. I was astounded to see that my discharge papers labeled me as intact, cognitive, and physically whole. Against all odds, I had survived a brain aneurysm rupture with 0 deficits. This body, which I had often neglected and cursed for its pain and depression, had displayed remarkable strength. I was overwhelmed with gratitude and awe, but also felt a deep sense of survivor's guilt. Why had I been spared? What purpose did my life hold now? I felt I did not deserve to experience this miracle. The hints of my pre-stroke mindset said that there was nothing special about me. The excruciating headache lingered, a constant reminder of the ordeal. It felt like an unending punishment from previous mistreatment, overeating, undersleeping, binge drinking. Yet, I found ways to function amidst the pain. Returning to work 2 weeks later was both a blessing and a challenge. I was eager to reclaim my life, yet my colleagues treated me with fragile caution, as if I may shatter at any moment. Their unrequested gentleness was frustrating, amplifying my sense of fragility. My co-workers were carrying files, opening doors, continuously checking on me. Over time, they began to see that I was indeed okay and ready to move forward. About a month after my release, the persistent headache finally subsided. I simply woke up one morning and the pain was not there. I felt lighter, and a sense of normalcy began to return. It was amazing how wonderful it felt to be without pain. It almost felt like everything had been a dream. But the uneven numbness in my skull at the incision points assured me that it was very real. Until today, I still touch those spots in my head, remembering my journey. At home, in moments of solitude, I meditated on my aneurysm experience. In yoga, I learned to use breath to calm and focus my mind to meditate. So when I want to calm myself down at home, I lay on my back and put my hands on my stomach. They say the stomach is the second mind. I then start asking questions. Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Is this fear? A needed lesson? A learned anxiety? Is this feeling mine? Or am I taking on the feelings of others? These meditative, prayerful, connected moments open a new realm of understanding, a deep well of wisdom within my cells. It was as if my ancestors spoke through my bones, urging me to listen and feel. When I connect with my body, I connect with spirit. I believe my body knows. It carries the memories, experiences, wisdom, and lessons of my ancestors. I yearn to work with that wisdom and build upon it in this lifetime so I can offer my gift of life to the world. Maybe I survived to talk about the gift of life and the power of living in partnership with our body. This connective practice, deep awareness, and realization urges me to slow down and live with intention rather than react to everything that comes my way. I committed to moving my body every day, starting gently with activities like biking and walking. Charles and I resumed our favorite pastimes, including hiking. For a year after the aneurysm, I wore a bright green protective helmet on our hikes, a reminder of my resilience. I also pledged to be mindful about my eating habits, practicing conscious eating, to heal my relationship with food. I kept a journal noting down how I felt before and after my meals. This helped me identify foods that nourish me and energize me. I learned to trust my inner wisdom, transforming my relationship with myself and deepening my understanding of what it means to truly live in my body. A month or so after returning home, I got back to the gym. I was nervous. One of the first classes I took was called rebounding. The instructor, who knew about what I had just been through, was concerned about my ability, and so was I. My mind was nervous, and my body was ready. I joined several classes and diversified my activities, exploring weight training, Zumba, yoga, Pilates, and rebounding, a delightful exercise on a trampoline. Moving for fun was liberating. Each activity brought a new sense of vitality, and I savored every moment of this newfound freedom and strength. Embracing these varied forms of exercise, I felt alive and free, relishing the vibrant energy they infused in my life. I returned to group therapy, continuing my process of healing and reconnection with my body and the world. Things evolved so wonderfully that after a few months, Daphne ended our sessions and sent me into the world to apply what I had learned. My efforts to nourish and care for my body paid off. I eventually lost over 50 pounds, improving all my health markers. Just a couple of years after my transformative aneurysm experience, I reached the best health of my adult life. I was at a healthy weight and continued to level up my fitness. Joy is the only word that can describe what I felt. The joy of a healthy, vibrant, and energetic body. I felt better in every aspect of my life. My body showed me that if I partner with her, I can make my wildest dreams a reality. In November 2021, 4 years after my rupture, I ran the New York City Marathon. Yes. I loved the nature of my body so consistently that my body celebrated its increased health by running 26.2 miles across the 5 boroughs of New York City. I used my newfound health and energy to spread awareness about aneurysms. Several major publications told my story from aneurysm survivor to marathoner. I used the spotlight to bring awareness about this condition, which affects women of color over 40 at higher rates and with more tragic results. I use my experience to talk about embodiment, how by working in partnership with our body's wisdom, we can unleash our joy. One channel I'm currently using is writing. I recently published my first book, entitled Embody Joy, a woman's journey of reconnection with her body, which I hope helps others reflect on their health and wellness without having to experience a health crisis. This all began when I voiced my desire to be more open-minded and connected, which quite literally led to me having my head open. Through my aneurysm experience, I was able to expedite my journey of reconnection with my body and deepen my connection with others. The joy and clarity I now feel as a result has refined my life's purpose.
In closing, we take a moment of pause to reflect on wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope, and ways they move through our own lives. And we give thanks.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org. Another way to support is to like, share, or subscribe to our weekly show. Again, thank you for devoting time and space for this week's episode of Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke.
Thank you for listening to Part 1, Beatriz Fritschler's story. Stick with us for Part 2, Beatriz Fritschler's interview. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke. We hope Beatriz Fritschler's story of resilience and transformation has inspired you to explore a deeper connection with your own body and life. Remember, in the face of crisis, there's profound wisdom and joy to be found. Thank you for listening. As part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational.
If you are part of the stroke community and have a story you'd like to share on the show, please contact us. Email molly@beyondstillness.org.